today hearing this interest arbitration between the corrections officers in the Commonwealth, and the union's presentation will continue.
Good morning. Welcome back to the PSCOA's presentation in this interest arbitration. Roy Pinto yesterday gave a brief overview of some of the classifications of the H-1 bargaining unit. Try to give the panel a feel for what everybody does in this bargaining unit. But we felt it would be best if the panel heard from the classifications themselves, so the panel could get a feel for what the H-1 members face on a day-to-day basis, what they do on a day-to-day basis. So when the panel meets in executive session and they consider what types of terms and conditions of employment H-1 members should have, they know what the members face on a day-to-day basis. So at this point in time, I would like to call up the Correction Officer 1 presenters, Jason Bloom and Bob Storm.
Morning, gentlemen. Just state your name correctly.
Jason Bloom.
Robert Storm.
At least they work today.
You start whenever you're ready.
Jason, let's start with you first. When did you start your career with the Department of Corrections?
January 6th of 1992.
And prior to starting with DOC, did you serve in the military at all?
Yes, I served in the Marine Corps.
And how long was your service in the Marine Corps?
3 years in the Marine Corps.
Why did you apply to the Department of Corrections?
Seemed like the logical step. Got out of the Marine Corps, looked around, wanted to do a job in public service. Didn't really want to be a police officer. My father was a corrections officer. Just seemed like a logical step. Second generation.
Did you have an interest in law enforcement?
To a certain extent, I didn't really want to be the cop on the street, but it intrigued me what this does.
Now, you said you started in 1992. Where did you start and in what position?
Huntington, SCI Huntington, as a COT. I've been there my entire career.
Correctional officer training.
Yes.
All right. And what type of training did you go through to become a correctional officer?
Well, before we went to the training academy, I actually spent about a month at SCI Huntington, then went to Elizabethtown, went through the training program, as you heard yesterday. And then you did your year of training, carrying a book and learning the job.
Okay. The 1 month observation at Huntington, was that a hands-off, purely observation role that you?
Not really.
Okay. What was when they say 1 month observation, what does that entail?
Well, it was basically we were there just waiting for another class to open up for us to go. But we were there Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, and we were used as needed. You know, we were there to observe, but if an inmate needed taken to the ground or escorted to a RHU or whatever, at that time we were a body, we joined in.
Now, Huntington, what type of facility is Huntington?
Level 4.
And could you describe, when you say level 4, what does that mean?
Well, they have some, well, every jail has a lot of bad people. This one here, it's just more aggressive. They're not the level 2s that you're going to send out and mow the grass. We have some of those, but for the general consensus, they're no good.
What's the scale on the level? 1 through 10, 1 through 5?
1 through 5.
Okay. 1 being what?
Easy, and 5 would be like green with the death row inmates.
Okay. And Huntington, is this a new facility? Is this an old
No.
facility?
No. Huntington is extremely old.
Okay.
It's a dungeon.
Is there air conditioning at Huntington?
No.
What types of jobs have you performed as a CO over your career?
Anything from standing in a dining hall, working in the RHU, Hearing escort,
What's the RHU?
restricted housing unit,
And that's for whom?
the bad ones, the ones that get misconduct, serve RHU time, act out, break the rules. Work on blocks, work the yard posts, outside hospital posts, pretty much every job that Huntington has offered. As a utility officer, you do.
Okay. Now, when you work as a correctional officer, you're assigned a certain duty for a particular period of time, be it a day, be it a week, be it a month, is that?
Correct.
And how many, ballpark figure, how many different duties does a CO perform? Whether it be working in the block, whether it be patrolling the perimeter, search team, are there a myriad of different posts that a CO will be assigned to?
Yes, numerous. And not only you could do several posts on one day. You could start out as a utility officer, you could stand in the chow hall, you could go relieve an officer in the block for maybe chow. You could end up in the yard, you could be a hearing escort officer for the day. Yeah, it's wide open.
What's a utility officer?
A catch-all. He does everything.
And you're, as a CO, one of your duties is to be familiar with these positions and be able to work these positions on a spur of the moment notice?
Yes.
What type of guns, what type of weapons, what type of equipment do you have available to you as a CO?
If you're in a tower, you have a rifle and a shotgun. If you're on an OSP post, you'll have a shotgun and a pistol. But if you're walking around inside the jail, a whistle in your head.
Okay. And there's a specific reason for that, obviously? Not having weapons inside?
Yes,
Okay, what would that be?
they could be taken off you and used against you.
Okay. Now, do you carry a radio? What type of communication does a CO have on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, you have a radio, you have your keys, you have a whistle, you can have a man down at Huntington, handcuffs.
Describe to the panel what a man down is.
Man down is basically a panic button. You wear it on your side. If it tilts over for so long, it'll set an alarm off into the control center, and then they'll call on the radio, ask where you're at, what your position is, are you fine, tell me send it. And there's also a red button on it, a panic button. That if you need help, you hit it.
Well, how large is this institution?
I mean,
Yeah. Like in terms of geography.
it's pretty spread out. I mean, it's not like your cookie cutter jails that have blocks all out. Huntington is set up, you have a center that is the hub, and then it spokes off in a wagon wheel fashion for your blocks.
So, for instance, as a utility officer, if you're in the yard, how many inmates are out there and how many people do you have, other corrections officers who are available to help you?
If it's a nice sunny July day, you could have 12 to 1,300 inmates out and 5, 6 officers.
Now, let's talk about working in a block, a CO working in a block. At Huntington, there's blocks, are there not?
Correct.
Are they lettered? How does that operate? How do you get-
ABCDEFG.
And within the block, each block, is that even broken down further into some designation?
Into tiers, levels 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. And when you say levels 1, 2, or 3, would that be a floor, first floor,
Yes.
second floor? Okay. Now, in each particular block, on a normal shift, on an average shift, how many COs would be in, just say, E block?
E-block, I worked in E-block, you had 4 officers, you had a sergeant and 3 CO1s, and you had 396 inmates.
So you have CO, you have the CO2, a sergeant,
Correct.
and then you have CO, 3 CO1s with approximately 400 inmates.
Correct.
How are the COs assigned? Are they spread out on tiers? How's that
Yes.
work?
You have one on the third tier, one on the second tier, you have a sergeant, and a CO1 on the first tier, manning the desk and also the gate.
Okay. So in that particular block, you could have at any given time approximately 400 inmates with 4 COs.
Yes.
So we're talking a ratio of 100 inmates per CO.
Mhm.
So when you were here yesterday, when you heard Roy Pinto talk about the ratio from Huntington, which was I think approximately, it was 30 to 1,
Yes.
and he said that was generous.
Yes.
Okay. Is that, in your mind, when you're in the block, is that the most, is that the typical ratio that you face on an average day as a CO?
Close, yes.
Okay. Now that block, security-wise, can you freely come in and out of that block? An inmate?
There's a gate, E-block. E-block is actually at the tail end of A-block, so E-block tries to keep the door shut most of the time, but when you call chow in the morning, you open them up and they go.
But normally it's segregated.
Yes.
Each block is going to be segregated from each other.
Yes.
Each block is going to be segregated from the rest of the facility.
Yes, to some extent.
And that's how it's designed.
Yes.
So when you're in there with 400 inmates, the 3 CO1s, the 1 CO2, you're locked in there away from the rest of the facility, correct?
Yes.
And Mr. Welby had asked you about getting from one part of the facility to the other. How long, if I walked from one end of the facility to the other end of the facility, or even ran, how long would it take?
If there's a fight in the yard, and you're in E-block, and you're running, it could take you, I'm going to say about 2 minutes. And that's running, you got clear grills, and that's saying that you come out of E-block grill, you run up through A-block grill's open, you go back down through the corridor, the rear corridor gate grill is open, and then you got to get the yard grill open.
Assuming you have a clear back.
Assuming
Every gate is open, every grill is open. And when you say grill, are you referring to?
the gate.
Okay. Now, in addition to some of these, the everyday duties of the CO, are there specialized positions within Huntington, within some of the SCIs across the state?
Yes.
What are some of those specialized positions?
You could have outside escorts, search team, hearing escort officers, medical control center, those types of things, bid job.
Okay. Let's talk about the search team. Have you had experience on the search team?
Yes,
And how did you come to get onto the search team?
I bid for it.
Okay. And once you get on the search team, is there any type of specialized training or anything of that nature that you have to go through?
Not, I wouldn't say specialized trainings, they send you to school somewhere. It's one of those things that you learn on the job, you do more things, learn gang affiliations, you pay more attention to just who's with who, what inmates are talking to what inmates, who's segregated off with each other. You're going to do a lot more things, you're going to do a lot more monitoring of the visiting room, ion scan, you're going to do those things, checking for drugs that come inside the institution, things of that nature.
So once you get on the search team, it's somewhat of an in-house training process.
And what did, if you could just explain for us, what is a search?
Search team is a 2-man team, myself and my partner. We work for the security department. We get basically your marching orders that day from either lieutenant or the security captain. And at Huntington, we were required to search 8 inmates a day. That was our goal number. And if there was nothing on the slate and we were just searching, you could search a 2-man cell, a single-man cell, a 4-man cube out in mods, common areas,